Good morning to everybody and welcome to this webinar focused on the MediaFutures project and in our third open call for research experiments that we would like to provide to all the potential applicants in order to guide you in the process of getting the support of our project. So thank you very much for attending this webinar. Our really warm welcome during this summertime. So we hope to help you in your application process. First of all, I would like just to introduce my colleagues in the webinar, the different speakers that will be guiding you in the different aspects of our open call. We have our two colleagues from IRCAN, Manon Blot and Luis Enjalbert. Good morning.
Hi.
Thanks a lot. We also have from NMA to Fernanda Rojas.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning. And finally, also my colleague in Zabala, Thomas Zimmer.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Thank you very much. So let's start. This is basically the points that we want to deal during this webinar, during this introduction. First of all, I will make an introduction to the general challenges and some general information about our initiative, our acceleration initiative called MediaFutures. And after that, both IRCAM and NMA will explain us what do we offer in particular to the applicants in our acceleration program. Once we finish that, also my colleague Thomas Zimmer will explain you how will be the process of application, that it is already open and you can already start applying to the call. And finally, we will have a time slot devoted for questions and answers that you may have. Last but not least, finally, just also to remind you that just after the webinar at 1 o'clock, we will leave the platform open for a matchmaking session where even if you are a startup or you are an artist, you can also establish some connections, exchanges, some matchmakings in order to create collaborations and to make applications in collaboration to our open call. Okay, so let's start with introduction. Here you find some of the main data of our project that has been funded by the European Commission in the call of Horizon 2020, one of the last calls. And as you can see in our timeline, we are in the entering into the last year of activity of our project. What does it mean? First of all, that this third open call will be the last one. You may take advantage of the experience that the first and the second cohort of experiments has experienced during these 2 years. And this is the last opportunity to be supported by our project MediaFutures. Apart from that, you can see there the consortium that is led by the Leibniz University in Hanover and has as well the technical and scientific lead of the King's College London, and includes other partners with different profiles from research and academia and industry partners from different countries in Europe. What are the main challenges that we are focusing? Okay, the reason why MediaFutures is out there, it's because we want to fight the current challenges related with misinformation and disinformation. As you for sure may know, misinformation and disinformation are major problems within our societies. They are affecting the quality of our democracies, and this is really in the roots of our project. Nowadays, we can see that misinformation and disinformation are in the roots of problems like the populism, as well the filter bubbles. They are making this dwindling public trust on, let's say, our democracies, and generating as well social divide. Obviously, we know that right now we are in a scenario where the war is really present close to Europe. So as well, we have many examples on how this misinformation and disinformation it's having negative effects in the quality of our democracies. So this is the main reason of our project. We want to provide solutions, creative solutions that may support this, the fighting against this challenge of our society. Basically, our objectives are focused on achieving quality journalism, as well working with science education and being able to generate digital citizenship, okay? Therefore, what we implement basically an inclusive innovation program, okay? That it comprises basically this accelerator and residency program for media. That's the main tool that we are putting on the field in order to improve this situation. In this acceleration and residency program, we are providing the applicants with data and experimentation facilities. And at the end of the project, we will be supporting directly with this direct support, but also with funding, specific funding for this, for the selected teams of 51 businesses and 43 artists. Right now in the third open call, we will be reaching our final figures regarding this support. So we expect to count with many of you, let's say, in the third cohort of applicants. Finally, even if the project is finished, and when we support businesses and artists to generate new ideas, new experiments that improve the situation of misinformation and disinformation, we will be leaving a legacy of toolkits and best practices that could be used by the media sector in the coming years. So, just focusing, are you an SME, a startup, or an artist? Do you work on the media industry, and do you have ideas to transform this media industry? In that case, MediaFutures can support you. MediaFutures is oriented to support technology innovation in media, focused on the challenge on misinformation and disinformation. Basically, we are looking for ideas that are using data and are using artificial intelligence to encourage people to engage, both with high-quality journalism, science education, and digital citizenship. Okay? And that's the main challenge we want to solve. Please, you will see that in the documents of the call, you will find one important document that it will be the challenge. Read that challenge carefully, as it should be an inspiring document, an inspiring text that can help you to develop and orientate your ideas. Another interesting thing about the MediaFutures support program, we are divided in 3 different tracks. We have one first track dedicated to startups. We call it Startups for Citizens. Basically, it is an accelerator for media SMEs and startups. Secondly, we have another second track that it's called Artists for Media. In this case, the form of this track, it is an artist residency program. So we are focusing basically to collectives that are artists or companies that have an artistic activity. And finally, we have as well the most challenging and most interesting track, the third track, that it is Startup Meet Artist, that basically is devoted to collaborations between SMEs and startups and artists, okay? In this case, we are looking for experiments that are putting together the efforts from an entrepreneurial part and an artistical part, trying to show ways of collaboration that may make a difference in the society. So it is really important that you have to take into account the 3 tracks that we are publishing. First one, focused to startups and SMEs. Second one, available for artists. And the third one that allows the collaboration between both sectors. Finally, some insights from our second open call. So you may have some data about the people that has applied before in the last years. Just for you, the information in the second open call, we received 137 applications, as you can see in the different tracks, from 39 countries. In this third open call, we are expecting as well to receive many applications from all these countries, and we will also select different pilots to our start phase. In the second open call, we selected 28 pilots before this start phase. So we will select the best ones, the most promising ones, in order to get the financial support and the support for acceleration and the artistic residency program. Explain you what do we offer in particular in this to the applicants of this third open call.
Thank you very much. So yes, this section is really for you to know what we will give, what will happen during the 6 months of the support program if you are selected. So you have to understand, first of all, that there are different phases inside the support program. There are 3 different phases. The first one, it's called start phase. It lasts 1 month, and it's really dedicated for you to refine your project and help define the objectives. After this first month of program, there is a selection, and half of the teams are selected to continue with the build phase. The build phase is really the core of the program, so it lasts 5 months. It's the moment where you develop your objectives, you develop your project, and you will receive the training, the mentoring sessions, you will meet with our advisors, and you will also take part into events, presentations, talks, etc. And the final phase, it's called exhibit. It's a very short one. Basically, it's the demo days where you will present your results orally of what you did during the 6 months of the program. So, of course, as I already said, you will receive training, mentoring, advices from our partners, but of course you will also receive money. So this is a table here for you to understand how the money transfer will occur. So, and also how many teams we will select for each phase and each track. So as Igor presented, we have a first track that is called Startup for Citizens, here dedicated to an acceleration for startups. In the start phase, we will select up to 8 startups, and each startup will receive 5,000 euros for the first month. For the Startup Meet Artists, so the collaboration between startup and artist, in the start phase, we will select up to 11 teams, and each, the startup and the artist, will receive also 5,000 euros for this first month. At the end of this month, there is the selection where half of the teams are continuing with the build phase. The build phase will last 5 months. The Startup for Citizens will receive 50,000 euros, where we will select 4 teams for each SFC and SMA. The startup inside the SMA track will receive 65,000 euros, and the artist will receive 30,000 euros. For the AFM, so the Artists for Media track, there is a money grant of 25,000 euros, both for the start and the build phase. And it's good to know that there is no selection at the end of the start phase for this track. So the artists that will be selected for the program will be there the whole 6 months. And finally, the exhibit. So the exhibit phase, there is a prize for the best team of each track. So each startup receiving this prize, so 1 prize for the SFC and 1 prize for the SMA, will receive 10,000 euros. And the artist receiving the prize, again, 1 for SMA and 1 for EFM, will receive 5,000 euros. So just for you to know, this prize is just 1 prize per track. Not all the selected teams will receive the prize. And then we can jump into how long will the program take you.
Thank you, Luis. So yes, now I will talk a bit more about our role as advisors. So basically, Luis and I, we will run the acceleration and residency program for the 3 tracks. And what is very important to mention is that you will need to spend some time, of course, developing your projects, but also dedicate some time in trainings and meetings with us to monitor the progress of your projects. So what does this mean? During the start phase, which is probably the most intense month of the program, you will need to spend around 9 hours in training, and we will train you in regard of your business plan development, data collection. We will also share some insights of startups and artist collaborations, some legal advice as well. And then during the build phase, this phase is more flexible, let's say. So we will have around 30 hours of training, but this doesn't mean that you need to attend all the trainings. Of course, you are welcome. If you feel like you want to attend all, you're more than welcome. But this is more your decision, and it's really depending on your needs and the needs of your project at the moment. Lastly, on the exhibit phase, we will also have some training sessions to prepare you for the demo day, which will be your final presentation. So again, yeah, this is more regarding your needs. Regarding monitoring, so as Luis and I, we will be your advisors for the whole program. You will also spend some time with us in individual meetings, and this is also important for you to have in mind these times. So during these meetings, we will monitor the progress of your projects. We will check, for example, your KPIs and how everything is going with your projects, with your team. If you need, for example, specific trainings, or if you feel like you need some contact persons in a specific topic, you will meet with us, and then we are of course always open to have separate meetings with you. We also can exchange anytime via email or via Slack. But this is for you to know that we will have these sessions. Sometimes, for example, you will also pitch to us or make some presentations of your projects. So this is for you to have in mind that we won't leave you alone in the program, and that you will always have our support. Now, we would like to introduce the two companies that we are representing. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you, Igor. So yeah, as advisors, Luis and I, we have the support of our companies. So I will start with NMA. So I am representing NMA. We are basically an acceleration program. We are based in Hamburg, in Germany, and our expertise is with startups and SMEs in the media industry. We have 6 years of experience running our acceleration program here in Hamburg. We have 12 batches until now, and we have invested in around 78 startups from 15 different countries in Europe. During our acceleration program, we also have trainings, events, mentoring and advising to our teams. And we would like to combine these, for example, big events that will happen here in Hamburg, so that you can also take part and meet our network and also our startups. We have a big network of world-known media companies and business partners. So this is also something that we would like to offer to you if you need some mentoring, or you're interested in connecting with a specific company. We are happy to do that. Also, a specific contact persons here in Hamburg or in Europe in the media industry. So yeah, this is mainly business focused, let's say. But we are also learning a lot from artists now, and now Luis will introduce IRCAM.
So IRCAM will be in charge of the art part, so really leading on the art residency program. IRCAM, it's part of the Centre Pompidou in Paris. It is a research center for sound and music, and it has more than 40 years of experience inside art, science, and tech projects, because it was really at the heart of the creation of this center to have musicians, composers working with researchers. So this is something that we're quite aware of and used to. And in order to also increase these collaborations, we have residency programs where we host artists inside the research labs and research teams. So the artists are working directly with the researchers for several months. And so we will, of course, use this methodology that we developed inside IRCAM and export it to MediaFutures. This is what we're doing now in collaboration with NMA. And we are also part of the STARTS network. START means science, technology, and the arts. It's a European initiative where the idea is really to have innovation at the nexus of science, technology, and the arts. And of course, when we will support you, we will course help you with the creation of your work, the idea that you will develop, but also put you in contact with our network at IRCAM, but also the network inside STARTS community. So we will be very happy to help you develop and present your work as far as possible.
Yes, so we of course have different partners in MediaFutures, and it is also maybe important for you to know that you will also have support from our tech and data experts. So we have King's College London, the Open Data Institute, and URCAT. So together with us, the advisors, they will also provide you some trainings, some learning materials, and they will also give you access to data technology. They also have a big network in these topics, and they will also provide you with some toolkits. So yeah, of course, as your projects are data oriented, this will also be very important for you when collecting data or starting to reach to your customers.
So how does the applying process work? Next slide, please. So basically here in a nutshell, you can follow the steps that we also indicate on our website, which are basically in step 1, our most important one, to read the website and to download and to go to the open call website and to download there the application kit. And in a second step, then read the documents, all the documents carefully, and maybe twice or thrice. Then be clear about which track you want to choose and fits best for your proposal. And then obviously prepare your proposal and everything that you need around it. Double check, make sure you have everything correct before then finally doing the last step of filling out all the application and actually submit it. Next slide, please. In more detail, or as I said before, go to the OpenCall website and click on the download link over there. You will get a zip folder, and in this zip folder, next slide, please, you will find these important documents. On the left side, you find the challenge, where as Igor said at the beginning of the presentation, that you will find what we are looking for, and it is important that your project will be aligned with this challenge. And then also the guidelines for applicants as a very important document as well, because in there you will find all the instructions and in detail explained in written, so you can come back to another time to read it again. Then if you still have questions, it is also a good idea to go to the frequently asked question document and to have a look if that question you may have has been answered before. And after that, you will also find another zip folder where you can have access to what a sub-grantee agreement would look like. So you can have an idea what the legal framework, let's say, would look like if you get funded. And as a very important batch of documents also are the track-specific proposal templates, where you will find which you have to use, and where you will find also instructions on notes on the points that you should elaborate on. Next slide, please. So basically, when you have read all the documents and you have an idea what you want to do, and it is aligned, and you have checked that it is aligned with the challenge, you can then proceed and give your team a form and then choose one of the tracks that we presented you before. Next slide, please. And then once you have chosen a track, or you want or you picked one, it is also maybe the time to double check if you are eligible as a team. So be Be careful with the eligible criteria of the beneficiaries. If you're, for example, a startup, or if you're an artist, that can vary. Have a look at the countries that are where you're established and where the residence of your company is. If these are in the list of the eligible countries, and also that you are going to use English language for everything. So the proposal, for example, it has to be in English to be eligible. That you cannot participate more than one time in the open call. So you cannot participate in a startup meet artists as an artist, for example, and again as artists just alone. That you follow the templates, of course, and the official submission platform. That means that you later, when you have prepared everything, that you will follow the completing the form and uploading the documents there, and that there are no conflict of interest. And of course, all this by the deadline. Next slide, please. And then going to the preparation of the proposal, please take into consideration that that you use the templates available in the application kits, and that you read all the instructions carefully. All the blue text that these are texts that that are there to guide you, and we encourage everyone to read them, and because it makes a lot of sense. Then also carefully check the page limit, because this is one thing you can now take advantage of, that we have done 2 open calls before this, and we know the problems that have occurred, and this is why we are taking such great emphasis on these details, that you double check the page limit and make sure that it is correct. Next. Yes, and also I think you already know that this is the proposal is one thing that is required for every track, but then there are there are other documents that are just required for SMA and the artistic track. Then we are not going to allow any PowerPoint or any Word document application, so please convert it to PDF and make sure that that is less than 16 megabytes when you upload it. And please use this form of naming the proposal as well. And when you are writing the proposal, please do not take anything for granted. Every idea that you have, don't expect that other have the same basis of knowledge. So it's best to explain everything relevant to your proposal. And yes, we got a lot of generic pitch decks also before in our first open calls, and these are also not welcome. Next slide, please. We also saw that one thing that happened, and maybe that happened when converting from your Word document or from your text editor to PDF, that sometimes somehow there was an additional page added, and this is also, or in the next slide, please, or some pages that are in the middle, which is even worse, because at the end the pages, there's just going to be evaluated the pages that are inside the page limit, and the rest will not be evaluated. Next slide, please. Yes, if you, as I said, are applying in one of the artistic tracks, AFM and SMA, you will also be asked to provide some detailed artistic information beyond that. So please provide maybe some curriculums or some artistic portfolios and links to videos or some other works that you have done before that could support and give value to the proposal. Next slide, please. And also, you will be required to make a short video and to provide us with a link to it. In this video, we ask you to shortly, in 3 minutes, present briefly your proposal and the team and motivation you have to join MediaFutures program. And it doesn't have to be something super elaborated. It can just be an amateur video presenting these points. Next slide, please. Yes, and once you have done this, you can go to the next step. That is maybe the most important thing before going to filling out the application form, is to double check everything that we just mentioned above, and to proceed in filling out the application form. Next slide, please. And if you're happy with everything, you can simply go to this link that we have here, or that you will also find on our webpage with /apply at the end, where we have provided you with an application form that is really explanatory. So I'm not going to go further in much detail to it, but you can go to the next slide. You will basically be asked to give details on your project, what track you're gonna choose. In the next one, please. And then depending on which track you choose, you're gonna be asked different kind of questions. But basically, for the startup and SMEs, you will be asked to give your legal name, your incorporation year, and the legal country you're established in. And here, again, carefully check if that is in the eligibility criteria, and the number of people that will participate in the project, and then in the SMA track, for example, you will also be asked to give the person's role. And then in the other two and in every one, we will also collect personal data like names and email addresses and stuff like that from the people that will participate in the project. Next slide, please. And then you will upload the documents as discussed before. And when you have done that, you are pretty much done. And there will just be some couple of last questions where you have to accept our terms and conditions and general privacy policy, and give your answers if you want to keep in touch with us or not. And then next slide, you will be done with that, and you have to wait for the results. In the next slide, we can see the timeline, where we can see that that the call closes on the 30th of August, that we from then we are going to evaluate all the projects, and we expect to be done with that by early October. Then in November, you can count if your project was accepted. You can count with the signature of the sub-grantee agreement, and most importantly, if your project is accepted, it will start around late November.
We have here some questions that I would like to launch to each of you. So maybe I go with the first one I have here. It is a general one. The question says, do you also accept ongoing projects, or does the idea require to be realized only in the framework of MediaFutures? Who would like?
Maybe I can answer. It is possible to support ongoing project. But what is important is to dedicate the funding from MediaFuture to a new development inside this project. So one part of the project will be really developed inside MediaFutures with the funding and the help of MediaFutures. So you need to have a new part of your project developed inside MediaFutures.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Luis. Let's go with a second one that it's quite practical. Right now that we are in pandemics or post-pandemics or whatever we can say that, is there any physical traveling that we should take into consideration when implementing the project?
Maybe I can answer again. So it is possible to be online most of the time because the program will be run online mostly. So the meeting with us, the training, etc., will take place online. Yet we will organize at least a physical event at the end during the demo days. So we mentioned it as May or June. We don't know yet when it will take place, but at that point it would be nice to be able to travel to one European city where we will all gather and present the results of the work. Last year we also organized a gathering with the teams that were available in Hamburg in May. So maybe this year we will do it again. Hopefully around March 2023. It won't be mandatory, but it's nice if you can travel. But we will let you know everything once you will be selected. But yeah, most of the program will take place online, and there would be at least one or two physical gathering.
Mm-hmm. In that sense, Fernanda, the entrepreneurial part, does it follow the same approach?
Yes, what I wanted to add of what Luis said, so of course we're making some exceptions. This year we have a team from Ukraine, and we are doing, of course, exceptions if you cannot travel because of war reasons, unfortunately, or health reasons. We are trying to be as flexible as possible, and since we run the first cohort completely online, it is possible to offer this, but of course we are always happy to see you in person. And for example, for the events that Luis was mentioning, it is always better to be physical in that sense when you have a booth or when you are pitching, because the atmosphere itself make it more difficult for you if you're online. But everything is possible, and we are trying to be very flexible. So yeah, same approach as Luis.
Thank you, Fernanda. We have one last question here regarding eligibility issues, so I think that's for you, Thomas. The question says, we are an NGO working on the media sector. Are we eligible in the MediaFutures Open Call?
Yes, as long as you follow the definition of what an SME is, you don't have to be a profit-oriented organization. You can also be a social-oriented organization. That's no problem.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas.
I see there's also a question in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just read it out then. In the call, the Jimena, sorry, asks, in the call, you explained that a group of artists can apply if they agree to found an SME during the build phase. Can you elaborate? Do you apply then as an artist or startup? I I might answer that directly. So if you don't want to fund an artistic company as is, you can also apply as a group of individual to our AFM track.
And I would add also that you can apply as a group of individual artists inside the SMA. You don't need to create a company. So maybe there was something that was not understood well. You can totally apply as group of individual, as artists. You don't need to create a company. It's just for the startup, so group of individuals that want to apply as a startup. They will need in the build phase to create a legal entity. But for the artist, it's totally fine to apply as a group of individuals.
Okay, thanks a lot. That's an important question because in the MediaFutures call, there is different types of beneficiaries that are eligible. So you have to be careful when you are selecting the typology of your participation. Okay, I think it's just less than 2 minutes to close. So let's finish the questions in this point. We will just tell you that the next open call and the last open call of MediaFutures, it's right now open till the 30th of August at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's an important question. Nothing that will be received before, after that deadline will be accepted for evaluation. You can find the links both in the documents, but also in our website. And we would like as well to remind you that just after the webinar, the platform will be open for a matchmaking session till 19:00 Central Europe Summer Time, in order to facilitate the matchmaking between startups, artists, etc. So please, you can use that facility for the trying to team up with other potential applicants. And we also remind you that the platform will be open as well till a second matchmaking session in the 9th of August. So please, in case you want to apply to a startup Meet Artists, you can use this facility that is provided by the project. In any case, just one small remark. The use of the matchmaking tool is not compulsory to apply, but this is something that we want to facilitate to the applicants. That's all from our side. Thank you for your attention. As we put there, we are looking forward to receiving your applications. We wish you the best luck. We are sure that you will be really successful in giving shape to great ideas that can make a positive change in our society, fighting misinformation and disinformation in the media sector. Thanks a lot. And please don't hesitate to follow us in the social networks, etc., and to check all the information that we have uploaded in our website, etc. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good luck to everyone.
Bye.